Hi there, this is Claire Jarvis at Restore Fitness Therapies Pilates and welcome along to your first follow-up email from us. So we hope you've had a chance to fill in your health and lifestyle questionnaire. If you haven't, please do that as soon as you possibly can. And secondly, please make sure that the date and time of your taster session is in your diary and that you know how to get here, where you're going to park, all of those things. We just want to make sure that you actually get to your taster session. It's amazing how many people sort of don't actually make it. Something gets in the way and they don't ever make it to us, which is just so sad because they then come back years later saying, I really wish I'd come and that I got these problems sorted out, because actually we can get things sorted out for you pretty quickly in the grand scheme of things. So make sure that you're not one of those people, that you've got the date in the diary. You've arranged any additional childcare that you need. You can bring your baby with you, but if you've got other kids that need taking care of, just make sure you've got all that sorted for us so that you can come along to your taster session. Okay, so what we've got for you in this video is a video below this which is going to show you how to test for diastasis recti. Now, some of you may know what this is and some of you may not. Some of you may know that you have diastasis recti, some of you may not. So diastasis recti is the separation of this big muscle down the front of the body called the rectus abdominis. Now that happens during pregnancy. It's a completely natural process, the separation of these muscles to allow the baby to grow, particularly during the end of the second and the third trimester. Those muscles will really separate out. Now, how much they separate is, depends on a couple of different factors, some of which are personal, size of the baby, if you're having a multiple birth, etc. Some of it just is quite personal to individual women as well. Once you've given birth and the body starts to return back down and the shape of where your baby was starts to reduce back down again, those muscles will start coming back together. Now, some people find that the muscles come back together really, really quickly. They come back completely, no problem at all. Some people find it takes a little bit longer for things to come back together. And some people find that they can't get them back together at all. So what we like to do when you come along for your taster session is just to do a quick test to see if you do have any separation and how big it is. So we're giving you the opportunity to have a little go at this at home on your own, to see what you can feel, because we want to empower you with the tools to take care of your own body. Of course, if you're not quite sure what you're feeling, I will have a check for you at your taster session and we'll just clarify exactly where you are. Now, you might be wondering, why is this that important? This is really, really important, and it's amazing actually how little people are told about this by GPs, midwives and health visitors. A lot of people, a lot of women want to get back in shape and they start doing crunches and sit-ups and planks and all these kind of exercises here without knowing whether they have diastasis recti. Now, if the separation of the muscles is still quite a sizable gap, and you start doing really heavy exercises that are designed to build strength in this rectus abdominis muscle, you are in danger of actually pulling the muscles further apart rather than bringing them back closer together, which is completely the opposite of what you're trying to do. Okay, so not only is actually certain exercises completely counterproductive to what you're trying to achieve, it's also really dangerous. The reason is that if these muscles are separated, you are then becoming a high risk of herniation. What that means is that part of your insides will start to protrude through the gap, because these abdominal muscles, as well as providing us with the strength to stand, it's like a big box holding all our intestines and all our internal organs in place. Excuse me. And the danger is, and what can happen, is that people herniate and normally a part of the intestine starts to poke through between the muscles and you will start to feel a bump, a ridge on the outside of your abdominal wall. So we don't want that to happen to you, and that is why it's so important to know whether you have diastasis recti and to know to what extent you have it, because that will determine the exercises we do with you. Now, I'm postnatally trained, and that means that once I know whether you have diastasis recti and how much, I know exactly what exercises are going to help you and exactly which exercises you do not want to do until we've got the separation back to a certain point. So it's really important that we get this information for you. So without wanting to scare you, there's nothing to be scared of. All of these things are completely manageable, completely fixable. You can exercise safely with us, absolutely. We just need to know exactly where you are on that scale, and that's why we want you to come to us rather than just go to a gym in town that doesn't have any pre or postnatal specialist who may just get you straight on a machine or lifting weights which are not appropriate for you to do yet. And what we don't want you to do is to hurt yourself or make your situation any worse. So have a little go below, watch the video, go through the test with me, and if you're not quite sure, don't worry. When you come along to your taster session, come and say to me, I'm still not quite sure, and we will have a quick check for you and do that for you. The other thing I would mention is that we like to get those tests done before the start of the class, just so that you get a full 60 minutes of exercise with us. So if you decide that you do need that test doing by me on the day, please arrive at least 10 minutes before the start of the session so that we have time to check you. Otherwise I'll have to work on the basis that you have a large gap, and I will give you exercises to ensure that you are safe. But obviously we want to give you exactly the right exercises to do. So have a little go below. You can post any comments or questions, you can email me, and we'll look forward to seeing you in a few days or a few weeks time, and getting you started on this process of recovery and strengthening and feeling fantastic again. So until then, take care.